Welcome back to ScreenRant. Now, quick warning. Since we're talking about the end credits here, there will be some major spoilers ahead. After Avengers Endgame left us dry and craving for an epic post-credit scene, Spider-Man Far From Home really delivered the goods with the traditional MCU mid-credits and post-credit scenes. While we're still gathering our jaws off the floor, we may have seen some of the greatest post-credit scenes in Marvel history. But what does it all mean? What films have really been set up for Phase 4? And could there really be a multiverse? Let's swing right in and break everything down from what we just learned in Spider-Man Far From Home. In just a couple of minutes of film, the mid- and post-credit scenes in Spider-Man Far From Home managed to leave us in awe, provide clues for the future, and set up multiple movies in the process. So much was packed into each scene, so let's just jump right in with the mid-credit scene first. You know, the one that caused you to drop your popcorn, if you actually had any left. After a thrilling flight through the city, Peter drops MJ off on the street, only to have their moment disrupted with a breaking news segment. Thanks to manipulated footage from Mysterio, Spider-Man is made out to look like a villain, and on top of that, Spidey's secret identity is outed to the masses. After all this information, Parker delivers the same great "what the" line his Aunt May did back in Homecoming. Of course, this line and the implications are on a much bigger scale. While Tony Stark chose to come out publicly with his identity as Iron Man, Peter was given no choice as Mysterio committed one last dirty deed as a supervillain. Now the world knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and there's really no talking his way out of this one. Dealing with his public persona is a great way to transition into the next Spider-Man movie, especially if he's made public enemy number 1 in the process. The big reveal makes a lot of sense for Parker's journey in the MCU as well. A big part of Peter's focus in Far From Home was remaining the friendly neighborhood hero and not being forced to fill Iron Man's shoes. He often struggled to find a balance between being a superhero and living a normal life of a 16-year-old. Well, now that balance is way out of whack, and a number of questions are presented in the process. How will he attend high school? Should the next movie be called Spider-Man Homeschool? Will he have to go into hiding? Will Spider-Man be charged for crimes Mysterio has accused him of? On a large-scale level, the heroism and legacy of Spider-Man will definitely be in question. But on a small scale, his friends and family could be impacted the most. After being on the sidelines for a majority of the time, Aunt May could find herself in danger for the third go-around. And it doesn't seem like a happy ending will remain in the cards for Peter and MJ. The couple's new romance could find many challenges, especially as the girlfriend of Spider-Man. And with Parker's identity out in the world, he could have multiple targets on his back in the future. Perhaps there will be 6 of them? Maybe, just maybe, Spider-Man becomes too much of a target in New York City and finds solace in San Francisco, the home of Eddie Brock and Venom. Yeah. It's too early to start talking crossovers now, but the potential of seeing Tom Hardy and Tom Holland together is too exciting to not talk about. Without Tony Stark there to defend him and many of the other Avengers missing in action, Spider-Man may not have other heroes to properly have his back after Mysterio's trickery. But this whole Peter Parker reveal was not all Quentin Beck's doing. This is where the other huge surprise came in. During the live news report, we get a look at the dailybugle.net news feed hosted by none other than J. Jonah Jameson. But the MCU production didn't hire someone new for the part. They went back to the Sam Raimi films to fill the role with actor J.K. Simmons. The cameo was a great nod to the Raimi films and made him instantly recognizable. In the original Spider-Man trilogy, Jameson was often a thorn in Spidey's side, posting negative headlines about the hero and trying to present him as an evil vigilante with no respect for the law. Clearly, they are going for the same angle in the MCU, taking things one step further by exposing his secret identity. Seeing more of J.K. Simmons in the next Spider-Man movie would be great, but could there be more than meets the eye with his character? While Mysterio tried to convince us he was from another planet and multiverse, it was all proven to be false in the movie. The decimation, or blip, didn't cause the rift to bring the elementals into the real world. They were merely illusions. Could there have actually been access to an alternate Earth opened up? What if during Thanos' first snap, there was a portal to another Earth, the dimension where Sam Raimi's Spider-Man universe takes place in. While it would be cool to see Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland come face to face, maybe it was Jameson who snuck through to the MCU, started his Daily Bugle website, and began tracking the Spider-Man of the MCU Earth we know and love. This could in fact be the same J. Jonah Jameson, creating the ultimate live-action Spider-Verse we're all dying to see. Sure, it does sound far-fetched, but this is the first time the MCU has used the same actor to play a role from a non-MCU Marvel movie. Let the theories begin. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of critical thinking to do after the mid-credits scene when bam, the post-credit scene pops up and everything we just saw was just a lie. In another mega twist, we learn that Agent Maria Hill and Nick Fury from Far From Home are not who they say they are. They are actually Skrulls in disguise, and we should have saw this coming a mile away. The first clue actually came at the end of Avengers Endgame. In the scene where Peter Parker returns to school, you can spot actor Ben Mendelsohn in the background as a school administrator, and many fans assumed he would return for some type of role in Far From Home based on the brief appearance. Well, it turned out to be true, because Talos was the Skrull impersonating Nick Fury, but he was doing it directly on Fury's behalf. One of the biggest clues to this reveal came when Peter Parker brought up Captain Marvel, and Nick Fury replied with, "Don't invoke her name." Yeah, not the exact phrasing we can imagine Nick Fury using. There were other clues as well, including Fury referencing Parker's Earth as your Earth, as opposed to, our Earth. Going back and revisiting the events of the film make it pretty clear that the twist was just not tacked on at the end. It was intended the whole time. This is why Fury didn't have an answer for the other Avengers' whereabouts. This is how they were so easily duped by Mysterio and the fake technology to prove his events and chaos were actually real. The real Nick Fury would have sniffed his lies in minutes and shut the whole process down. Maria Hill would have found out a way to discover he used to work for Stark as well. These are highly trained agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. we're talking about here. The Skrulls may be able to impersonate Nick Fury and Maria Hill, but their full skill set was not available as well. So where was the real Fury during the events of Far From Home? He was relaxing on a simulated beach, which turned out to be a massive spaceship filled with other Skrulls. First of all, the scene just adds another great post-credits notch onto Samuel L. Jackson's impressive list. He was in the first post-credits scene way back in Iron Man, showed up for Captain America and Thor post-credit scenes, along with the epic scene in Avengers Infinity War, where we got our first tease of Captain Marvel. The scene here could be another tease for Captain Marvel and her journey in the sequels. After the events of Endgame, Fury and Captain Marvel may be reunited for some space adventures involving the Skrulls. While the scene was playful and fun, it could also serve a purpose, one we may not know about for years. Until the full Phase 4 slate is announced, only speculation can come about from Fury's travelings with the Skrulls. Also, side note, if Maria Hill was being impersonated by Soren, but Fury wasn't with her on the ship, then where was the actual agent? Nick Fury's position with the Skrulls may not have to do with Captain Marvel after all. After playing a supporting role for so many MCU films, maybe Fury will finally step into the spotlight with his own solo movie. We've already seen the incredible de-aging done in Captain Marvel, so the film could be part origin story and part modern-day mission with the Skrulls. While it looked like Fury was merely relaxing, one line could point to his leadership of a sword agency. The line was, "Get back to work." He's not just a passenger on this Skrull ship, he clearly has some leadership position, and as the MCU ventures further out into the depths of space, the whole sword thing may be the way to go. The ship they were working on may be the Peak, which is the headquarters for SWORD in the comics. Members have included Captain Marvel, but there are some other more intriguing options. Perhaps SWORD is not only used for a Captain Marvel sequel, but as a way to introduce X-Men in the MCU. X-Men's Beast was one of the main members of SWORD, and the group has been involved with several other X-Men, including Wolverine and Cyclops. So the whole ship could be a part of Captain Marvel's sequel, or as a way for Nick Fury to band together a whole new group after his original Avengers are all but split up at this point. A whole new group of mutants. Dun dun dun. Yeah, we're still trying to force the X-Men into the MCU as quickly as possible. With the big Skrull twist in Captain Marvel, chances are the use of Talos and Soren are not setting up a big screen adaptation of Marvel's Secret Wars, but it does get ideas churning. The Skrulls were presented as the heroes in Captain Marvel, meaning they probably won't flip the switch and then just make them go all evil all of a sudden. With Skrulls now introduced as a modern part of the MCU, we could see a lot more implementation in the future. The Skrulls could literally be anyone, from an innocent old lady on a bus to Aunt May. We just have to wonder if they will factor into the future of Spider-Man movies, or if this was a one and done for the alien race. Tying both scenes together, perhaps Talos will have to turn himself into Peter Parker to help prove the case that Parker is not in fact Spider-Man. The fake Parker will have to try and, fit in at school, while the real one goes on heroic adventures trying to redeem his name and put a stop to the fake headline spewed by J. Jonah Jameson. The possibilities are truly endless with which direction the next Spider-Man movies could go. So yeah, with just a couple minutes of extra footage, Marvel was able to jam-pack all kinds of information and revelations for us to enjoy. Once some more of the Marvel Phase 4 movies are announced, we can confirm some of these details. But for now, we'll just have to enjoy the scenes we have and let the speculation continue. And now it's your turn. You saw the movie, overanalyzed the scenes. What do you think the future holds for the Spider-Man franchise and MCU as a whole? Were you happy to see J.K. Simmons back in his iconic role? Disappointed the films didn't truly explore the multiverse? Let us know in the comments below and subscribe to ScreenRant for more great Marvel content. Thanks for watching.